Hello, it's your favorite sports Unc here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry. Ocho, before we get started today, I have some things that we need to address. You and I need to address.
Okay.
And Russell Wilson is doing his best job to evidently he heard what you and I said. Obviously, our voices carry resonates a lot because we have a large platform. Our subscribers, our followers, they like what we have to say. And so evidently what we said when we talked about what he had said, I think it was it GQ or Essence? It was an Essence magazine.
Yeah, I think it was Essence. Yes, sir.
So Russell Wilson said, let's start building each other up. The evolution of the black quarterback in the NFL has been one of the coolest experiences in my life to be a part of. Full context is always important. Grateful for those before me, those with me, and those after me. God is good.
Right.
So what he did is that before Russell Wilson, this is the author. Now what he did, he highlighted. This is not what he said. He highlighted what the author said. This is what the author said. Before Wilson burst onto the scene, signal callers of color, Doug Williams, Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham, and Michael Vick all dominated the field at one point. A fact that Wilson recognized and respects. I think about those guys before me. He says that's not what he said. He's just regurgitating what the author said. Okay, here. But I tell you what you do now. When Rail come home, you say, Rail, I love you, and see what happens. Right. Now, this is what he said. He says, but when I came into the league, there were only a few of us. It was Cam Newton, Robert Griffin III, Colin Kaepernick, myself, and a couple of others. By the end of the second year in the NFL, Wilson had held up the Lombardi, becoming just the second black quarterback to do so. While Wynn became unforgettable personal accomplishment, that also marked a shift in the position. For me to be able to go back-to-back Super Bowls, win one of them, I think it opened a lot of doors, he said. Now you see guys like Patrick Mahomes. Huh? He didn't highlight that part now. See, you notice, Ocho, he didn't highlight for me to be able to go back-to-back and win one of them. I think it opened a lot of doors. That's not what he highlighted.
Right.
I need you to highlight what you said. Not what I can't highlight what Ocho said. Oh, this That's what Ocho said. Shannon, what did you say?
Yes, sir.
You can't highlight what I said. What did you say? Oh man, you know what? Hey, you ain't gonna talk about all the receivers that came before Ocho. Like when I came into the league, wasn't nobody really running no routes, but like me, maybe Jimmy Smith. So you gonna forget about Sterling Sharpe. You forget all Flipper Anderson, Aaron Cox. You gonna forget about all the other guys that were route runners and just highlight your era. So in other words, and this is what irks me a lot about this generation. If it didn't happen, if they didn't see it, it didn't happen. If it's not on the internet where you could just go, it didn't happen. And so the emergence of quarterbacks like Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, and C.J. Stroud, to name a few, is indicative of a new era of football and a glimpse into what sports is trending. So he heard what we said, obviously.
Right.
I'm glad. If he didn't hear it, and that's the thing, if he didn't hear it, somebody that's close to him did hear it. I'm happy that more people that our color getting an opportunity to play that position, because before they were getting transferred, they would moving the running back or wide receiver, or they were playing DB. They were safeties. They weren't getting opportunities. No matter how accomplished, Warren Moon had to go to the Canada. Canada. He had to go to the Canadian League. After he won the Rose Bowl. After Warren was a prototypical drop back quarterback, he had to go win 5 Grey Cups and come back. So that's all we're saying, Russ. We're not saying, but we don't want you to minimize the importance of the guys that came before you.
Right. Yeah, I don't obviously context always matters. Anytime anything is being said, anytime anything is being written, context always matters. I've talked to Russ multiple times, really not on this situation here, but in general, just about obviously me being on the other side of the fence, being a part of media, trying to balance being able to be critical, me trying to balance being able to analyze players without it being disrespectful, and talking to Russ in person, not over the phone, in person. What he said is we, as those that have already played the game, we have to, it's in for us to do justice to stop tearing our Black Kings down in general, and kind of somewhat in the narratives at times on some of the things that we say. He also said the fact that he respects those that have played the game that came before him, the players that have the voices like we do. We're very impactful when we talk about the game because we played it. Not only did we play it at a very high level, and our voices matter because they're very powerful. We got a lot of reach, Unc. You got a lot of reach. And I think more so on that end, I think he's kind of sick of the narratives in general. You never hear Russell Wilson fire back. You know that, right? You notice that? This is one of the few times he's actually came out and spoke about what me and you had to talk about. And I think he's just sick of the narratives. And I think we're going to see a different Russell Wilson now. This is what I think from this point on, because Russell never says anything when anyone says anything about him. So the fact that he came out and said something, I think we're going to see a more boisterous, a more opinionated Russell Wilson. So when people say anything about him, I think he's going to fire back and kind of set the record straight.
Well, I think for me, look, I do the best job I possibly can because I really never try. I don't think I have. Only once. I think one time,
right?
I have attacked somebody in all my years of doing this. And this is going on.
Yes, sir.
Probably almost 2 decades that I've attacked someone personally. And if I ever see him, I'll apologize. There's no sense in getting into that now, even though he continuously attacks me, but that's neither here nor there. For me, Ocho, and I think the thing that people that have heard me, they know I'm not parsimonious when it comes with my criticism.
That's a good word right there, baby. I like that one. Parsimonious.
So in other words, people have heard me criticize Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, just as much as I've criticized the Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes. I believe just because you're accomplished, I'm going to say two parts. Just because you are accomplished, you won multiple MVPs, multiple Super Bowls.
Yes, sir.
You're not beyond reproach. Just because you're Black and I'm Black, that doesn't mean you're beyond reproach. Now, I'm not going to attack you as a man, but I think I can attack your play on the field. In this, I thought Russ was being dismissive of the guys that came before him. That's what I would say. I was like, well, Russ, you do realize that Marlon Briscoe was a scrambling quarterback before Doug Williams. You probably don't even know who he is, the first Black quarterback to start opening day for the Broncos. There was Shaq Harris, that also from Grambling State that played under Coach Rob before Doug. Randall, there were so many guys. Dante Culpepper was a mobile quarterback. But it seems like he was very fine to fit his era. Cam, RG3, Cap. Because if I'm not mistaken, Cap came out the same year he did. Might have came out the same year he did, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where I am. I don't know. I don't know Russ personally. I've met him a few times. He was great to me. I was great to him.
Yeah.
I don't know Russ off the field. I'm not in his life.
Good dude.
But but this notion that every time that somebody's like, if we were attacking him personally, we said we don't like what he's doing. We don't like that he putting everything on social media. We don't think this or he's that, he's this. Now we're attacking him personally. I don't think you or I have ever done that. I know I haven't.
No.
I spoke to something that was brought to my attention. Everybody called me a lie. After it was reported as facts that he did have an office. He did have a special interest. He did have extra smart. Well, why'd you have to bring it up? Because hold up, I thought context matters. Yes, so when does context matter, Ocho? Now I could have went deeper, but then I felt personally. Now I'm piling on. Now I'm adding some. Whatever transpired, leave it there.
Yes, sir.
But the one thing fans know about me, when I speak to something in Denver, or I speak to something in Baltimore, you best believe, take it to the bank.
Yeah.
If I tell you grass will turn to cheese, Ocho, tell them what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to quit every job you got, take every dime out the bank you got, and start hustling crackers.
Yes, sir.
Because my word is better than Bitcoin when I talk to you about those two franchises.
Right.
So I wish Russ the best. Hopefully he gets back to being the Russell Wilson that we knew we loved when he was in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's what he can return to. I pray that's what he returns to, because I still think he has good football in him. I think his heart really didn't want to leave Seattle, but sometimes you have to go. And the thing, it didn't work out the way he envisioned. I don't think anybody envisioned that it would be only a 2-year stint in Denver. But I think Russ has good football left in him. And I wish him the best in Pittsburgh.
Great football.
Except when they play the Ravens and if they play the Broncos.
Well, listen, he's going to be fine. Again, context matters. Where you're going to a great organization.
Yes.
A winning organization. A great head coach. One that's got your back no matter what. Come hell or high water. Mike Tomlin is going to have his back. Another thing that matters, a quarterback going to a new situation, supporting cast. What am I surrounded with? I'm surrounded by good running back play, and you're surrounded by good catchers of the ball. Even if they are young, who knows what they're going to do in the draft? Who knows? They're going to bring pieces in there to make your job easy. Winning organization. All Russell Wilson has to do is go in there and beat Russ. That's it. And he's going to be fine. Except when he play the goddamn Bengals.
You see?
That's it. Except when you play the Bengals.
Yeah. And it's not that we're rooting against, we are. We're rooting against you, Russ. We don't want you to play Wagger. I ain't been here tell you that lie. Well, I hope Russ have a good game as long as the Steelers lose. No, I don't. No. No, I don't. Because if he have a good game, that greatly goes to helping the Steelers win that game. And I don't want that. I want the Ravens to beat the brakes off of twice. And if they play the Broncos, I want the Broncos to win. Now, if it was a former teammate, I want you to have a good game. Just not win the game.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, I want him to have a good game, but I don't want to beat the Bengals. And you know, Russ might be watching. Russ, you know how I feel about you, boy. I love you. I love you to death. I love you. I'm telling you, you're going to have a good year. I'm telling you. But when you play the Bengals, you can have a great game as long as the result of the game is the Bengals winning. That's all that matters. That's all I care about. That's all that matters.
Continue success.
He going to play.
So, Russ, hopefully I cleared up what my thinking was, why I said what I said. I understand you have more than a right to refute anything that was said by me or Ocho on this podcast. That's well within your right, but we wish you the best moving forward. And
yes, sir.
Hey, it didn't work out in Denver, but hopefully it works out 3 times better than what it did in Denver and Pittsburgh. Because Steelers was my favorite team when I was growing up. Unfortunately, that had to change once I got drafted. They were no longer my favorite team. And playing in that division with the Ravens, we hated the Steelers, and we still do.
Oh, yeah.
Some things never change.